Today's video will be a short one, but packed with information for those of you that want to break free from Canva and explore other tools to create your Instagram posts. So I'm gonna take you behind the scenes one more time, show you how I design a very simple, very basic Instagram post using Figma. This post is actually about the tools I use as a designer and content creator, and I have 2 videos about that here on my channel, so make sure you go back and check those out. But the Instagram post is just a list, like with the categories and the tool that I use. So it's pretty simple. It's more with the intention of getting people to save it than to take any other action, like going to my YouTube channel or anything like that. Although I am planning to mention my channel on my caption. So yeah, let's start designing. Let's see what we can do. I don't want to also spend too much time on it because I do have a lot of client work to get done today. So, we're gonna try to do that in the next 30 minutes. I already had my list of tools and I knew that this was going to be a pretty simple post, just the cover and then the second image would be the list. So I created 2 vertical frames and I always start with text, positioning things where I want them to go, and this is the font that I use on my posts and website, but I always like to give it some personality. And I like to add some small details like these lines that I also have on my website, so trying to stay consistent with my visual identity. And I duplicated the text just because I wanted to outline it, meaning that it's no longer editable. So it's always good to have a copy if you need to change something. And I knew that I didn't want to overthink the cover itself because I wanted to place it on a video. So we're doing a video background for this one. And we don't do that here in Figma. We just make sure that we remove the background color and that when we copy, it's copied as a PNG. And we moved to Capwing for this cover, and I realized I wanted to add my handle because it's also my website address, and I fixed the position of the lines so they don't show on my feed. And I realized also that since this will be a video, some people might get confused waiting for the tools to appear, so I made sure to add an arrow so they know they have to swipe to see the list. I just changed the opacity of the video so there's a good contrast here, and we are pretty much good to go. Now moving on to the second frame, again my list was already here and I like to have a bunch of placeholders to work with and start visualizing what this could look like. And the first thing is to adjust the font size and start organizing this frame. Figma has this feature called auto layout. When you select a few elements and press Shift A, it groups them in a way that if you add an extra line, for example, it will adjust the spacing by itself. And that's pretty useful, and that's what I'm using here to speed up the process instead of manually having to reorganize everything. So, now it's the pretty boring part, adjusting spacing, sizes, making sure everything looks balanced. So having the list look similar in height, for example, like the 2 columns look similar in height. And for the last category, I decided to add some short description about the tools because while the others were pretty self-explanatory, these ones might not be so much. With everything aligned, I wanted to test my brand colors, but most times less is more, and I felt like black was good enough, and now we can export the image. And I always export as PNG. I wrote my caption and I went to schedule it on Creator Studio, but they don't allow yet to have both a video and a static image in the same post, so I did it on my phone. So I hope you liked this video. I hope it was helpful and interesting to see a little bit, like a tiny part of my process. So I do have some other posts on my Instagram feed and I'm gonna link that here in the description. They are like seamless carousels, so when you're sliding through them, like the images kind of, the frames connect. So if you're interested in learning how to do that, seeing, watching how I do that, let me know in the comments and I will make a video about that as well. So yeah, thank you so much for watching and I will see you next week.